Alright. So, people did pretty good on the warm-ups.
I didn't even do the
Except me.
Yeah. Oh, I should have put
Well,
5
you're
and
not.
negative 3 instead. I'm stupid. Oh, we care.
This is my favorite pen.
I put a note on
That's
my
really
desk.
I should have went with my first instinct. I'm stupid.
Alright. So,
Good
real
song.
quick, we're not going to go through the whole part for the warm-up,
it's not
just
a good
to
song.
remind you guys how to do it, because we're going to use these today.
Thanks.
We were doing midpoint and distance. So remember, we need x1, y1. We have x1 here, y1, and then x2, y2. All you had to do was plug in numbers into your formula.
No,
so for
duh.
midpoint, negative 3 plus 7
No, duh.
divided by 2. And then your second one, y1, y2, 4 plus negative 2.
I totally did not know that. I
Divided by
totally
2.
did not know that.
And then all you had to do is solve these. So negative 3 plus 7 is 4 divided by 2 is 2. 4 plus negative 2 is 2 divided by 2 is 1. I think you accidentally subtracted.
Yeah, I accidentally subtracted instead.
And remember, midpoint is an x comma y, so your answer needs to be like this. Distance, same thing, except we're plugging it into this formula. So we got a real big square root. And then x2 minus x1, negative 2 minus negative 3, squared plus y2 minus y1. Oh, no, x2 is 7. I
was looking at her. What the heck?
Hold your horses.
What?
I plugged in the right one. So it's x2 minus x1, x2 is 7. I accidentally plugged it in.
Oh, go.
And then plus y2 now is negative 2 minus 4 squared. And then you could just plug this whole thing straight into Desmos. Just like this.
realsies.
For realsies. And you get like 11.66.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we rounded up to 11.7. Either one works.
Yeah, well, you had rounded the nearest hundredth, so...
It is the
don't
newest
do that.
100. It is the newest 100.
That's true. If it was 10th, you'd be... Anyway, that's your answer. So, we are actually going to be using these today, and this time around, we're going to be looking at some shapes, and we're going to be classifying shapes for the most part.
Crap.
So we're going to start off by looking at this triangle, and I want to know, is triangle ABC scalene, isosceles, or equilateral?
Isosceles.
So to start us off, Lark, you know what equilateral means for triangles? Letters?
All of the sides are equal.
Yep. 3 equal sides, right? That's equilateral. Joseph, remember what isosceles means?
Nope.
Ryan, you remember?
Kind of. No, I don't. I was just
Anybody remember what isosceles?
2 equal sides?
2 equal sides. Oh. Tablet. There we go. 2 equal sides is isosceles. And we haven't talked about this one, I don't think. But anybody know what a scalene triangle is?
No, they're all 3 different. Or
No equal sides, or 3 different sides. Same thing. So, isosceles is 2, equilateral is 3, scalene is none. I'm not entirely sure why I wrote them in this order. 2, 3, 0.
Who does that?
0, 2, 3, I don't know. Weird.
Who does that, Goki?
I don't know, man. Alright. So if we're going to look at this triangle, and I want to know what kind of triangle is it, I'm going to have to find the length of my sides. So you're really going to want to use Desmos, and you're going to want to keep the formula in there and just replace numbers. So before I do anything though, I'm going to start by finding my XY coordinates of these. So A is 0, 1, and I'm going to write them down just so they're easier later. B is 4, 4, C is 7, 0. That'll make it easier to just plug in my stuff. So I am going to start plugging in things into my distance formula. So let me grab Desmos here. Maybe, come on. Tablet? Good for nothing tablet. Worthless.
That's
Hang on, hang on.
Yeah, that's my board.
Smartboard wouldn't be better.
Cooler.
It's funner to say, but...
It's funny to say.
do I want to show you? No.
Back on for me, people.
Alright, here we go. Get Desmos going. Desmos.
Desmos.
Start graphing. Alright, so let me go through, get my equation going in here. So square root, parentheses, minus, I'm not filling in numbers yet, I'm just filling in my equation, then I can fill in the numbers in just a second. Alright, I've got my minus in the middle.
Who are you
There you go.
today, Goku?
I don't know, man. So all I'm going to do is start filling in different numbers for my points. And that's going to give us the length between them. So let's start with, how about this left side? I'm going to plug in 0 and 1 in for x1, y1, 4 and 4 in for x2, y2. Okay, so it's y2 minus y1, 4 minus 1, and then x2 minus x1, 4 minus 0, and hey, it gives me my number. That distance is 5. What? No, but I would keep this formula and does most of not leave it. That makes sense. That doesn't make sense. No, you don't need to write this down. All you need to do is write down that this side right here is 5.
Oh, AC is 5.
Okay.
Not that one.
So let's keep going. Let's find the distance of this one on the right.
I'm stupid.
And this time around, we already have 4 and 4 plugged in, right? Let's just change 0, 1 for 7, 0. Let's make it easy. Let's save some time. So I'm going to put in 7 for x1, 0 for y1. So we go back to here, Desmos. Let's see. We're going to plug in 0, and then 7. And I get my new distance between these. All I did was change a couple of numbers real quick. That's what makes these nice, Desmos nice, because you just replace a couple numbers, and I get 5. Hey, it is at least isosceles, right? But maybe it's equilateral, so we got to find the bottom ones. And just kind of like last time, I'm going to just replace 4 and 4 with 0 and 1. And find the distance of this bottom one, because I already got 7 in there, right? Let's just replace it with 0 and 1. So we get back here, 7, 4, 4. Here we go, 0. And 1, and I get, oh, it's 6. Which means this is what kind of triangle?
Isosceles.
Isos. And I'm going to abbreviate it because I'm feeling it. This is an isosceles triangle. And we found that just by plugging in x and y coordinates to get distances. It's not super tough, but it is a little annoying, which is kind of how today's lesson is. It's not tough, but it is a little annoying.
Is that how you rule?
Yep. Alright, first in class problem.
Oh, cool.
Tell me, is this triangle isosceles, equilateral, or scalene?
What if we just guess and we don't do it?
Then you might get it wrong. So, in your Chromebook in Desmos, plug in some coordinates and find out your different distances. You're going to need Bob Desmos thing.
I just got that.
Hey, Gulk.
Like that geometry is pointless. I got it.
Yes, Tyler.
I need to watch them.
After the lesson, then you want. That's perfect. I'll give you a couple of minutes, and we'll go over it.
Does it matter which like sides or whatever points we put in or whatever?
Doesn't matter where you start, no.
What the heck?
What?
I don't know. I'm just gonna wait to see what I do.
What'd you get, Ryan?
Hold on. I got skating.
You good?
I got skating.
Did you get 25, 8, and 13?
You got 25?
I got 5, 3.6,
That's what I
0,
plugged in.
4.4.
I think you forgot to square root.
I got 5,
No, I got
5.1, and
square
I got 4. 5 and
I got
5.1.
It
five.
should show us the square root thing.
Exactly 5, 3.60,
Oh, it's not going on right there.
and 4.4.
I think I messed up.
Yeah, go right there.
I feel like I messed up. Tell me if there would be a sauce.
No, it's not easy.
I got skating though.
Yeah, I got scaling too.
What are you going?
5, 5.1, and 4. Yeah.
Everybody got different answers.
That's funny.
That's 5.
That's hilarious. Hangoki. Kinda. Oh, you don't know? It's I thought you would be laughing now that everyone's getting different numbers. I thought you'd
No,
be
that doesn't
happy.
make me feel good about myself.
Why? Because it makes it seem like you're not teaching us anything?
No, it means you don't. No, it's not it.
Oh. What if we do it on purpose? Oh, you messed up.
Well, that's kind of annoying.
Is it supposed to be that?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Really? There's supposed to be like that one right there and that one right there?
Mm-hmm. Come on, this is not.
You still get the same number.
All right, you guys get answers yet?
Yeah, but I messed up.
All right,
Somewhere.
well, let's find out.
Somewhere.
Let's take a look at them.
I got scaling or isosceles from those two. It's not equal that.
All right, well,
Can't be.
so Ryan, what distance did you get right here?
For that, I got 5.
3, 1. Yep, that one is 5. All right. Anybody get something different?
No.
All right. How about this one over here on the right?
5.1.
3.60.
I got 5.1.
Yeah,
3.60?
I got 5, yeah.
You don't even need the distance formula. You can just count.
Oh my
2,
god.
3, 4, 5.
5.1. It's isosceles. I hate you.
All right. What about this one?
That's a 4.
I got 4.5.
I got 4.47.
I got 4.47.
Well, I
All right.
rounded it up.
Yeah, well, 4.47.
4.7.
All right. Pretty good. Which makes this?
Isosceles.
Sausage.
At least we understand what we messed up on, but
All right. How much do you guys like typing in all that stuff?
I know.
it's fun.
Terrible.
You could do 4.5.
I'm the only one who
All right.
said
How much
it's
you guys
fun.
like typing in that stuff in the formula?
It's fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
I did.
It's
Well, I'm gonna
interesting.
help you out a little bit. Go to Google Classroom.
Oh my gosh, making it easy on
I
us.
am. Because you
It's
guys
so
practiced this
cool.
much yesterday, so I'll make it a little easier.
You're so cool.
And then I posted something on Google Classroom. Go to that first thing, the midpoint/distance.
Point/distance. Midpoint/distance.
Okay, while you guys are getting that real quick, I am just gonna get the x, y coordinates of each one of these points.
It's scary.
So this was -1, -2, -3. This was 1, 1,
Let's just
2, 4.
X it up on these.
All right. So you guys get that Desmos thing that's on there?
Yeah.
Okay. So Desmos is kind of nice because you can set up generic formulas and fill them in with numbers.
Cool.
So this is what your thing looks like. Mine's a little bigger. It should be probably back up a little so I can see it a little bit better. Come on. There you go. All right. So we already found some distances, right? Let's double check in this calculator. Let's find the distance on this left side between -3, 1 and 1, 4. I'm going to go here to my distance calculator, one I just made, real quick. Wait, get out of here, you. I don't want you anymore. You're not good enough. Alright, so I had -3 and what was my x1, y1? -3.
1.
-3, 1, right? So in Desmos here, I have an x1 and a y1. I have -3, and then I'm going to make y1 We'll delete that, make it 1. Alright. And we're going to find the distance between that and the point 1, 4. So I'm going to plug in 1 and 4 for x2 and y2. So x2 is 1, y2 is 4. Oh, not 24. y2 equals 4. Alright, what does it give for my distance?
Interesting.
5, right?
I've
And
got
it
6.
also gives a midpoint even though we're not finding it.
Oh, that's right, because I didn't.
Mhm.
Oops.
So I have x comma y, right?
Here we go.
So that distance is 5. So on this calculator, instead of having to type in everything, all you need to do is change x1 and y1, x2 and y2, and it automatically changes these things down here. So Desmos is nice because you can make your own formulas. So I made a distance formula right here on line 5, and then line 6 and 7 is x comma y for midpoint. So if you want to, you can go back and do it like you did yesterday and like you did earlier and just type in every single number, or you can use this one and change x1 and y1 around, and x2 and y2 around.
He's so cool.
It's a little nicer.
Thank you.
So let's look at this next one.
Thing's cool.
I'm going to use this calculator, helps out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, we're going to find out, is this shape a square, a rectangle, or a rhombus?
Hey, Rhombus.
Rhombi?
Rhombi? I don't know, I forget. We looked it up, but alright.
That's totally a long.
So, if
say
it
you
is
looked
a
it up?
square... What?
You say you looked it up?
Oh, in the plural. The plural.
Oh.
I think it was like rhombuses or rhombi.
That's totally a rhombus.
Alright, so Trista, what's it take to be a square? We talked about this a
4
couple
equal
days ago.
sides.
And?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
parallel lines.
Yeah.
Equal sides and parallel lines.
4 equal sides and
Equal.
4 90-degree angles, right?
Ah, give me that.
Alright.
Somehow.
What about rectangles? What's it take for rectangles?
4 equal sides.
Not for rectangles.
2 parallel.
That's true. 2 pairs of parallel things. 2 pairs of parallel sides. So rectangles, it takes 2 pairs of equal sides and 4 90-degree angles. And in rectangles, diagonals are congruent. So if you're looking at a rectangle, which we're going to do in just a second, you can either say, well, I've got 2 pairs of equal sides and 4 90-degree angles, or you can say, oh, my diagonals are congruent, it's automatically a rectangle. And then the last thing, what's it take to be a rhombus, Quana?
It's gotta have.
Or what?
4 equal angles or equal sides. 2 pairs of equal sides.
Rhombus is 2 pairs of equal sides. No. Rhombus is 4 equal sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4. What am I doing? What kind of notes are these? Who made these?
You.
Rhombus is 4 equal sides. Man, how did that happen? Alright.
Too tired.
So, this next question is QRST below a rectangle? And then explain. Alright. So, for rectangles, we could do 2 things. I could either say it's got 2 pairs of equal sides and 4 90-degree angles. So let's look at this.
The square.
Can I figure out anything on these angles?
Yes.
No, we don't have any way to find out is this 90 degrees or not. So I can't do my first option here. I'm going to have to look at my diagonals. Now I'm going to have to say, are my diagonals congruent?
Yes.
So I want to know, is QS congruent to RT? And we're going to use our handy dandy distance formula to plug in distances and see if they equal each other. So, real quick before I do that, I'm just going to write XY coordinates on each one of these corners. So I got 2, 2. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 2.
Do you really have to count?
And 1, negative 1. Sometimes. Kind of hard to see up here.
Huh.
Alright, I've got these, so I'm going to go back and let's find QS. So I have 1, negative 1, and 6, 1. I'm going to use my Desmos thing I made. and find those distances. So 1, -1, 6, 1. So get rid of x1, 1,
6,
-1,
1,
x2 is 6,
5.38.
y2 is 1. Alright, we got 5 point, let's round it 5.39.
5 point. No, it should be 5.4.
Alright, so QS 5.39. If RT, the other diagonal, if that's 5.39, you know this is a rectangle. So it is 2, 2, 5, -2. Let me go back here, change these around. 2, 2, 5, -2. Still kind of annoying to do this, but better than it was before.
5.
And what's my distance?
5.
Are these the same?
No.
Nope, so it is not a rectangle.
rhombus.
I got
Not a rectangle. It should.
What'd you get, Nick?
both 4.12.
Yeah, that's like,
Wait. Alright, never mind. I did the sides kind of like going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
so we could do that, but we'd have to also say there are 4 90-degree angles. We can't do that part. So you gotta be careful. You have to make sure you answer both parts of this video. Couldn't do that, so we're gonna skip it. Alright, well, we got that one.
X is a rhombus.
Alright,
Sorry.
is ABCD a rhombus? Explain. And when it says explain, that just means show your work. So, is it a rhombus? Better find some distances. Better find some distances in there real quick. Well, it'll probably take a little while just because it's a little annoying to type in. Not super tough, just annoying. That's how today's lesson is, kind of annoying. And then from there, we might have 1 or 2 more, but that'll be about it.
It's not a rhombus. That sucks.
I should probably double check it too, make sure I got the right answer going.
It's not a rhombus.
Well, let's find out.
I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, but
Maybe, maybe not though.
who knows, huh? What'd you get, Joseph?
For which one?
For AC?
7.81.
7.81? I got 7.07.
How'd you find the diagonals?
4, 5. And
4 congruent sides.
I did.
AC is a diagonal.
Yeah.
You want to check the sides.
Oh my god.
I'm not gonna read though, please.
Screw.
CD is
Screw math, man. Screw math.
all sides are supposed to be
It's
equal,
so
yeah?
Yep.
bullshit.
CD is congruent to CD.
CD isn't congruent to what?
CB.
Well, then you know it's not a rhombus.
Oh, I told you. Just looking at
You
it.
got lucky. Don't
I
even
did
try
get
it.
lucky. I'm always but luck. And bad luck. Mostly bad luck. It's more fun. Man, I lost my eraser. That sucks.
Alright. So let's go through. Tiana, give me one side you found. Give me one side you found. What? This one? Yeah, what'd you find? What length was it? Alright, Nick, give me a side you found.
CB got 4.12.
Does that mean it's rhombus? Nope. Nope.
Notes.
Mm-hmm. As soon as you find one that's not different, you don't need to keep going.
Wrong way.
So, It is not a rhombus, and for the explain part, all I really need is this. The sides aren't all equal to each other. Alright. I think I want to skip this one to give you guys more time in your homeworks. But, so on this one, you just have to follow the directions on it. You have to find the midpoints, and then make the shape, and then figure out what the shape is. So I'm gonna have you guys skip this for now. We might do one like it on the homework, but you know, because you guys are doing pretty good, and I'd rather have you practice just the other stuff. So, go to your. Actually, we're gonna skip the exit ticket too, because this one's also like that. Yeah.
I was actually gonna do it. Yeah, it's fine.
Don't worry about the exit ticket. You guys are doing good. I'm not super worried about you guys using this formula. We're just gonna practice the other stuff and not worry about this as much. And I'll put your homework on Google Classroom in just a minute.